I am proud to announce our second speaker this morning, Jeremy Rasmussen from Abacode. Jeremy, tell us about yourself, your organization, so you can set the context for our conversation.
Sure. Obviously, I'll speak to the shoulder first. Just had shoulder surgery last week, rotator cuff.
Same problem.
Soccer injury. I fancy myself a amateur footballer, but
Love it.
it's my fun side gig. Full-time chief technology officer and partner at Abacode, cybersecurity and compliance. So I'm employee number 3. Started with them in the beginning, building out the professional services team around assessments, pen testing, training, policy and procedure development, things like that. My partner, co-founder, Rolando Torres, is the one who built out our security operations center, SOC, and 24/7 operations out of Tampa and Las Vegas. So my background is in secure software and systems development over the years, a lot of defense contracting. Probably did more than 800 or audits for the Army over the years, both blue teaming and red teaming. Mm-hmm. My other fun side gig was a professor at University of South Florida for about 20 years. Adjunct faculty developed their curriculum around ethical hacking, mobile and wireless security, cryptography, networks, forensics. Started the student capture the flag team there. We made it to the finals of DEF CON capture the flag one year, so that's kind of our claim to fame. So yeah, I've really been interested in R&D, educating, and building services teams over the last 25 years.
Fantastic. Well, that's one of the reasons we're here today is education. By the way, my rotator cuff's because I was an idiot, went off-piste in ski season.
Oh, no.
And in the trees, bad things can happen. So anyway, what's the message? Sports over 40, it's rough, right?
Yeah, you can start getting brittle.
Absolutely. We heal slower, but it's still fun. So, Jeremy, thanks again. And I think one of the things we haven't talked a lot about is that XDR is a fundamental change, right? A lot of people use the SIM as their core tool. And the idea of building rules for known use cases, it works, right? It's a manual process. That's the bad. The good is you capture data, you know what you know, you see the light, you know what it's about. But it's static. It's looking backward. XDR helps us look forward. The idea of using machine learning to build those correlations. But that's a radical shift, Jeremy, and you have the background to share. And again, think a bit of business in combination of a technical level. We don't have to totally geek out. How would you give people advice on how to walk through ripping apart 20 years of best practices? That's painful, but we know the benefits are there. So what are some guidelines you could give us?
Sure. I think where that really comes in useful, the application is in the entity and user behavioral analytics, right? Knowing who's logging into what, from where, at what times, and getting a baseline of that. Think about doing that with a traditional SIM. You'd have to, first of all, figure out who all your users are, where all your users are, what are they logging into, what applications, and when are they doing it. And you would have to manually create these rules. And that would be a difficult correlation, especially for large organizations, several thousand people. It would be onerous. It would be almost impossible to do it manually. But with machine learning, it's going to figure that out through a baselining period where it's learning. It's learning. Greg's logging into Office 365 from 8 to 5 every morning from New Jersey or whatever, and now here he is logging in at 2 in the morning from Pyongyang.
Yeah.
Probably anomalous. Probably should go check that out. But what I think the trickiness of it, the difficulty is ruling out some of those false positives, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I was just talking to our SOC director, Robert, about this. When we log in through a VPN, it creates an impossible travel situation, right? So we have a VPN login with MFA. The login's from Tampa. The VPN servers, I think, in Des Moines or something like that, and the Okta's in whatever DC. So within like 30 seconds, you've gone to 3 different places, and the XDR is going, wait a minute, they can't possibly go travel this fast. So that way you just have to do some manual rules to filter out some of that noise.
And I think those are great examples, and I think that's really the difference of the old world and the new world is hackers have lots of free tools, and one of the things people have to get their heads around is real-time data is really the true signature of what we need to see, because these folks are smart and they play those games. And again, with a legacy SIM model and a data lake, you've got to build the people and the tool set around that to extract that information. It takes time. And what's time mean to a business? money, right?
Exactly.
So how do you map that to a customer? When you're engaging with an enterprise and you're helping them walk through that journey, what are some of the techniques you use to get them to get to that aha moment and help them understand that the fear is low because the benefits are high?
Right. Well, I'm going to go back to something you made me think about. You know, signature-based SIMs are, traditional, how we've been doing things for the last 20 years or so. And I did go to a talk yesterday where they were saying something like, out of all vulnerabilities, all CVEs, only 2% of them are actually ever exploited, which is, you really could, for the most part, cover most things with rules. But what about those outliers? What about, the savvy adversaries who realize, something like MITRE ATT&CK framework exists, and they know that we know how they do what they're doing. Like, I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago at a conference on the Conti ransomware group. As you know, this is the most active group out there. They made like $180 million of ransoms last year. They're real bad guys who go, they don't just go after like greedy corpse. They actually go after, hospitals and schools and nonprofits. And right after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, they came out in favor of Russia, and they said, if anybody goes after Russia, we're going to come after you. Well, some of the Ukrainian members of the group didn't like that and dumped all of their internal, chat logs and tools to the internet. So we've been pouring through that stuff over the last couple of months and reading all their, they operate this thing like a business, and we know exactly how they do what they do. So people are getting better at looking for these indicators of compromise in the TTPs, tools, techniques, practices, to be able to stop it. So they're really getting smarter at covering their tracks, at being stealthier, at specifically changing their behavior so that they can't be picked up by a simple signature. That's where the anomalous detection, the behavior-based detection comes in super important. So that's what I would tell a customer is like, without that type of detection, you're not going to see these outliers. You're not going to see people that are specifically trying to hide their TTPs.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. That's a fantastic, a very visual example as well, and very relevant to the political environment we're seeing. 3 points there, Jeremy. One, boom, right? This is about money. Hackers have turned this into a business, right? And then number two, I think that's the problem. SIMs grew up as a GRC tool, right? Governance, compliance, reporting, understanding things for the insurance company. Hey, I had that information, but that's not the real world anymore, right? And so we're here for open XDR. So we've talked about XDR. I think that concept is clear. What about the open angle? Do people understand what that means? How are you using that as a weapon or as a fuzzy warmer-upper idea with your customers when you come and say, I'm doing open XDR? How much do you have to explain to people and understand the value? Or what do you see as the value for your customers?
Right. Well, I mean, there's a number of benefits, besides the machine learning aspect. I think the active response is a big deal, right? Being able to, I say, the 2 a.m. scenario, if we see something happening, if we see a system beaconing out to known command and control site in Russia, or if we see, some activity, brute force attack, password guessing, now we can, integrate with the other tools in the stack to be able to stop that and orchestrate it, right? It used to be, maybe a 3-step process to get there. Now with these integrations, as I see it with the rest of the security stack, now it's very easy to orchestrate through an API connection. So that's one big thing I would say. As far as the other things, I think the interplay between the host-based detections, the network-based detections, the correlations, the integrations, and the utilizing the entire security stack as an orchestrated whole. That's the real power of this thing. That's the power of open XDR, as I see it.
It makes a lot of sense to me, Jeremy. You know I'm a believer because that's why we're here, right? So you're not selling me on anything, but I think it's great to put that on film, so to speak. Is there a question I should have asked you, Jeremy, that I didn't ask you this morning you want to share with everybody today?
No, I mean, you said let's have some fun. My claim to fame, if you want to Google me, is I get to go on, every year I go to DEF CON and try to win on Hacker Jeopardy, and I never can because you're supposed to, like, you get points for how many questions you answer, but also how many beers you drink.
Oh,
And so
geez.
those two do not go together.
Yeah.
But my claim to fame is my 15 minutes of fame, where I actually got to go in the real Jeopardy. So I won. I got to meet the late great Alex Trebek, and won about $30,000 on Jeopardy. So.
All right.
And I got to talk about hacking. Like after you come back from the first commercial break, when he's saying, "Hey, tell us about your life," I'm like, "Yeah, I go to DEF CON, I'm playing Capture the Flag and all this stuff." And he's like, "You're a hacker? Are you a horse rider?" And I said, "Yeah, no, not that kind of hacker, Alex. Not the kind that beats a horse."
Oh my gosh.
So Google on that. It's fun.
All right, Jeremy, let's all break Google and Google Jeremy Rasmussen and
Jeopardy.
being on Jeopardy. That's fantastic. That is great, Jeremy. Hey, thanks for sharing your stories today. Thanks, everybody, for attending. We'll be doing a raffle in a few minutes, folks, so stand by. Thank you, Jeremy.
Cheers.